All right, folks. So I, like many of you at home, have been going through the new Epstein files over the past couple of days. I am nowhere near done. There are millions of pages to go through. It is a lot. But I just stumbled across perhaps one of the worst documents I've seen in the files so far. It is disgusting. It will make you feel sick in your stomach. And it mentions Donald Trump's family, Mar-a-Lago, and other powerful people. And what's really unfortunate about what we're going to get into right now is that nobody in the media is talking about it. Very few people on social media are talking about it. Maybe it just hasn't been discovered by a lot of people yet. It hasn't really gone viral, but it's one of the worst documents I've seen. So we're going to get into the story. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Before I do that, please make sure to subscribe down below. Drop a like on the video. Comment if you're on Spotify or Apple. Please make sure to follow along and rate the show 5 stars. It goes an incredibly long way. I have spent so many hours going through these documents to find this and many others we've talked about on the show, but it's bad. Put it bad. I'm just going to put it that way. It's bad. Let's get into it. So what you're looking at on your screen right now, maybe you've been wondering, is a journal that has been scanned in the Epstein files that was written by a 15/16-year-old girl. On this, it says 16. There were earlier pages that make it seem like she's younger, but around that age. And it's written by a victim of Epstein, someone that was trafficked by Epstein, and it seems to be one of the more extreme cases. She talks about the abuse that Epstein committed against her, other powerful men committed against her. And what's interesting about this document in particular, this journal, is that actually it's written in a cryptic way. So it's not just entries in a journal that you would read in like a book or anything. It's written in a very certain way to understand it. So, for example, let's just take this paragraph down here. It says LKMRLG. It's not how you read it. You read it down, then diagonal, then down again. So what I mean by that is it would actually be read as LIKE and then MARALAGO. You know what that spells out? Like Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago. That's what it spells out. This is a reference in this journal by an Epstein victim to Donald Trump's house. It says like Mar-a-Lago, and then bear with me here. It took me a long time to get a hang of reading this. It's quite difficult once you try to get through the words pretty quickly. But it says like Mar-a-Lago, and where I'd see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann. So that's what it says. And to be clear, we know that's what it says because in some of the entries of the journal, the DOJ or whoever investigated this actually transcribed it. So the full paragraph, you see, this is the part we read, like Mar-a-Lago and where I see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann. This is what the full paragraph on that page actually says, including some of the writing above. It says, "This is not surprising, but there's no such thing as a child prostitute. They are children and cannot consent. They are missing the biggest in my own backyard and so many more, like Mar-a-Lago and where I see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann." So transparently, I've read this many times and I don't know what it means. I'm sure that there's information we are certainly missing in this case. We obviously don't know who wrote this journal. We don't know what's going on here. But when the writer, the author, who again was a little girl at that time, a child, is saying, there's no such thing as a child prostitute. They cannot consent. They are missing the biggest in my own backyard and so many more, like Mar-a-Lago and where I see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann. It seems like, and you can, disagree with me in the comments. Please let me know if you interpret this in a different way. I'm trying to find it out. But it seems like she's referencing Mar-a-Lago in a nefarious way. Something has taken place at Mar-a-Lago. And why would she know what Mar-a-Lago is? Right? Was Epstein bringing her over to Donald Trump as well? And what makes it even weirder is if you look at the page where Mar-a-Lago is referenced down in the corner, just look at some of the paper clippings. You'll notice in this journal, there are a lot of clippings from articles, newspapers, whatever it might be. And look at what some of these things say. Who knew I was born a slave? Unlike drugs, a woman's body can be sold over and over. One U.S. shelter has rescued 10,000 child prostitutes. That's right next to a mention of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, this is, in my view, a bombshell in the Epstein files. Why is Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's home, being referenced in this context? And it actually gets worse, if you can even believe it. So this is a separate page of the journal that was written by this girl. There are many, many different pages. And I want you to look down here at the bottom where Ivana Trump. There's a cutout of Ivana Trump, entrepreneur. She was once asked me how I handled the press during my divorce. She said, "You came out of your divorce with dignity and pride, and that's how I would like to come out with mine." So Ivana Trump, a member of the Trump family, obviously Donald Trump's ex-wife, is mentioned in the documents, and then there's a cryptic message next to it. And what this says is really, it gave me goosebumps when I first went through it. And I want you folks to tell me what you think it means, but it says, "Doesn't this lady know you can't have dignity if you've been with him? I know I have none, only Skittles." That's what this says. If you go down and then diagonal, down and then diagonal, and so on, it says, "Doesn't this lady know you can't have dignity if you've been with him?" So is the author of this journal, this notebook, saying that she's been with Donald Trump? I mean, she's saying, you know, you don't have dignity if you've been with him. I know I don't have any. I only have Skittles. So is that what the author is saying? Again, I don't know. It's all very cryptic. We have no context to this document that we're looking at right now, but it's incredibly serious stuff. And Donald Trump has been mentioned, and maybe there's other entries in the Epstein files from this journal that I haven't come across, but this is so far what we've seen. And again, there are other paper clippings in this journal that are just, God, I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's really difficult to read. For example, "It's good to be little." It's scratched out and says it's bad to be little. And in addition to this, there are other pages, and this is where it gets really heavy, and I will give you a warning on this stuff. It is tough. There's other pages where this girl is talking about being pregnant with Epstein's baby and getting a procedure to terminate that pregnancy and describing it as a horrible experience. I mean, obviously, you can look on the page right now and you can see what she's talking about and read it for yourself. But there are many, and you can see, like, again, this is all cryptic writing. You'd have to sit here and go through all of this and go down, then diagonal, down, then diagonal. But it's actually, thankfully, in this document, transcribed. And she's saying, you know, "I can't go to school like this. I can't stop shaking. Why won't anyone make it stop? I know Ghislaine is trying, but nothing changes." And she's talking about having her pregnancy terminated. In the hall, Ghislaine said she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why did she stop whimpering? She was born. I mean, this is, you know, it's depressing. You know, it's tough stuff. It's really tough stuff. So if you'd like to read the documents for yourself, I'll put them in the description if you'd like to go and review these yourself. But the final one I want to talk about in this journal is this paragraph. And I actually transcribed it. I went through and transcribed a bunch of this, but this one really stuck out to me in particular. And I have it for you here. It says, and you can go back, you can pause if you want to do it yourself and kind of do the up, down, diagonal method. But I did it. It says, quote, "There are always flights of horror, whether..." Oh, sorry about that. Let's go back to the middle. Apologies. "There are always flights of horror, whether it's with Jeffrey, Mr. Leonsis, Mr. Case, Mr. Snyder, the Gregorys, Mr. Clogan, or Ron being borrowed by a seemingly good federal worker and even rented. It is horror, and nothing is as it seems. I'm so confused by everything, and people you expect to be good, like senators like George Mitchell." This word didn't make sense to me, but senators like George Mitchell, who you think will be like a grandpa or bad. Mr. Kimsey is deranged. The answer is crazy. And what's interesting about this is Senator George Mitchell, a Democrat who served in Maine in the 90s and I believe the 80s, actually was accused by Virginia Giuffre of misconduct, of assaulting her. And so his name is also coming up in this journal in a obviously very, very serious way. And I want everybody to remember that Kash Patel said that there's no credible information that Epstein trafficked minors. He said that there's nothing new in the Epstein files. And we're reading this journal where this girl is outlining men who she is saying are bad. She's talking about Mar-a-Lago and that, let's go back up here. She's talking about Mar-a-Lago and people, who are they? I don't know. They are missing the biggest in my own backyard. She's referencing Ivana Trump saying, "Doesn't she know you can't have dignity if you've been with him?" I don't know what any of this means. Transparently, I'm not part of the investigation, so we don't know. You're not part of the investigation either. We don't know. But this seems like very serious stuff. And the final context I want to give you in all of this is we just learned that the FBI last year put together a presentation that outlined allegations against powerful men. The Justice Department last year compiled a 21-page slide presentation that summarized its investigation into Epstein, including allegations of sexual misconduct against numerous powerful men. The men included Donald Trump. They had Donald Trump on the files of this slideshow where they were detailing the allegations against powerful men, and we've seen some of the allegations against Donald Trump. These were in the Epstein files, and they are very serious, very, very serious. So I don't know. You can let me know in the comments what you think of this document. It is, again, one of the worst I've come across, truly, and there's so much more in this journal if you'd like to read for yourself. But please make sure to subscribe down below. Definitely comment on this one and let me know your thoughts. Drop a like on the video. If you're on Spotify or Apple, please make sure to rate the show 5 stars and follow along. I'm going to continue to go through these documents. It's taken me a long time, but we're going to get through them. Have an amazing rest of your day if you can after reading what we just read. But I appreciate you greatly, and we will talk soon.